A statue of the Virgin Mary was found vandalized in Brooklyn, New York earlier this week, the latest incident in a wave of attacks on Catholic churches. The statue of the Blessed Mother outside of Resurrection Catholic Church sustained a large crack along her head, as well as damage to her hands. The New York Police Department is investigating. Joining me now on Skype is Archbishop Thomas G. Wenski of the Archdiocese of Miami, acting chairman of the USCCB Committee for Religious Liberty. Your Excellency, welcome, and thank you so much for your time today. Across the country, we've seen vandalism of Catholic statues and churches. The latest incident in New York adds to the list of attacks in the state. What goes through your mind when you hear these reports?
Well, these are very disturbing, even though the motivations behind some of these attacks are still quite opaque. There is reason for much concern. We've seen the attacks on secular statues, and so given the polarization that is the present reality of our nation today, it's not surprising to see these attacks now directed towards religious images. But we should be concerned, because it's not the image that's being attacked. It's oftentimes the religious values and the religious communities behind those images that are being attacked, and so it's a short step from violence against inanimate objects to violence against people. In fact, in Ocala, we had a man drive his car into a church and try to set the church on fire. The fire ruined some religious artwork in the church, but certainly put at risk the lives of any worshipers that might have been there or could have been there at that time. So this is a very dangerous trend, and it requires vigilance, and it requires that our law enforcement authorities take deliberate action.
Absolutely. I know earlier this month you signed on to a letter with religious leaders of other faiths asking members of Congress to increase funding for the Federal Emergency Management, that is, agency's nonprofit security grant program. What exactly does that program do, and how would you like to see that money used to put an end to these kind of attacks?
Well, the churches are, by definition, almost soft targets. A bank is a bit of a harder target. If you went into a bank, there are people there ready to turn you away if you went into a bank with a violent intent. But most of the time, churches are pretty defenseless, and we are, because most of our churches don't have the resources to harden themselves, and so this request from an interfaith group was an attempt to get Congress to fund at a more significant level funds available for protecting the citizens that go to places of worship or other nonprofit institutions.
Before we let you go, I want to ask you about Judge Amy Coney Barrett and also the scrutiny her religious beliefs have received throughout her Supreme Court nomination process. What's your reaction, and what would be your message to those who've made it an issue?
Well, again, the Constitution itself says that there is no religious test for holding public office. And so for those that are trying to bring up the religion of Justice Amy is really something that's very un-American, and so therefore they should not be given any credence, and they should be dismissed because this is not the way we are supposed to do things in America.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Your Excellency. We really appreciate it. Archbishop Thomas G. Wenski of the Archdiocese of Miami and acting chairman of the USCCB Committee for Religious Liberty. Thank you again.
Thank you.